Hey traders, it's Nolan from Trade and Train. Hope you're well, making some money, making some pips this week. I thought I'd do a midweek market breakdown for you because we sent out our watch list today to our members. We send out a watch list twice a week, Sundays and Wednesdays, full of charts and what we think could potentially happen in the next few days. Just bring it down. Actually, I've got it on one of my screens, so this is today's, as you can see, 16 pages. We break down some charts of interest and yeah, exactly what we're looking for in relation to how we want to trade it. So we send that out twice a week, like I say, so I thought I'd do some charts from that, just break them down for you. And by the way, guys, if you're ever interested in getting that watch list sent to you twice a week, then just drop a note. Just drop us a note in the comments down below here on YouTube, and we will get back to you and tell you how you can do that. So first chart on the watch list was or is Euro USD, which we're already on here. Before I go through that analysis, just bear in mind that tomorrow, Thursday, 12:45 p.m. UK time, there's Euro monetary policy statement and ECB press conference, which we can often see movement in the market on the euro. So just be aware of that. If you like something that I'm about to tell you on euro, then just be aware of the news coming out tomorrow. So we can actually see, can't we, prices had this nice little move to the downside, whether you're looking on the 4-hourly or the daily. We can see that movement to the downside. So let's go back to the 4-hour. This is the very current price action, this downtrend here. You can actually draw a trend line like so, and you can see that, maybe even go on to the hourly. Price is just testing that trend line. Okay, so let me just tidy that up a tiny bit. I like to use tips of wicks when I'm drawing trend lines. There we go. So is price going to continue to the downside? What you can do, or what we'll be doing, is looking for this, what we would call a CTL, counter trend line, to break. Okay, a nice solid close below that trend line, you know, something like this even, that'd be a great candle, wouldn't it? Is, you know, the next impulse to the downside. Okay, so we'll be looking for that CTL to break. Now, it may not. It may push up further for an even bigger correction, because if we were to look at this chart, doesn't matter really if we look at the 4-hour or the 1 hour, this is the cycle, or these are the cycles, I should say. Okay, we've got that impulse there, a correction, impulse, and we think this is a correction. But literally, price could still pull back to here and do that, and we've still got a valid trend. Why? Because this is the high, that's the lower high, and that would be a lower high. So that would still be technically a downtrend. So I don't want you to be under the illusion that just because we break a trend line means we're changing trend, because it doesn't. Okay, it's when you start to see a change in cycle, that's when you get a trend change. Now, as I say, we'll look for a break of this CTL, but price may still carry on to the upside in a corrective format like this. So what we'd then be looking at would be another zone, and that would be somewhere like this swing low here, which was support. As you can see, it was support here on February this year. Now we'll be looking for price to come and retest that if we see a bit more upside. And then we're not just going to sell, we'll be looking for a sell setup. Either a certain candle or certain candlestick pattern that we look for in the market at certain areas of support and resistance. And if we get that, then we can look to trade this short. If we don't get it, well, there's no trade. So a couple of things that we are looking for on euro dollar there. We are looking for shorts, but only with the right price action. Okay, so we could break down there, or we may have a little test up here and then break down. Okay, so we'll be looking for either of those to take place. Doesn't mean that they will, but that's what we'll be looking for another move to the downside. What else can we look at? What else is on the watch list? Dollar Swiss. Swiss franc was very, very weak, as you can see, across all the Swissy pairs, the Swiss franc pairs. Obviously, with the Swiss franc being the term, I should say, where if that's weak, then we see price move to the upside. Okay, we have a stronger base and a weaker term. This is the base, this is the term. Then we see a move to the upside. Okay, and that's what we do as traders. Basically, we trade strength against weakness, weakness against strength. So we've had that big move, as you can see, and then yesterday on Tuesday, we had our first bearish or seller candle, and that's a pretty solid candle. So, you know, we could be getting a correction now. Now also, if I just move to the left a little bit, this is what's called an anchor trend line. It's both support and resistance. Support there, resistance there, drawn it across, and we've come into that same zone here. So we'll be looking for some downside on this. And you can see I've actually set my alert below yesterday's low because I want to know if we break the low, and it could mean that we're having another move to the downside. If we do, where could we be looking to target? Well, our target is, and if I draw a horizontal, can you see these tips of wicks here? Resistance, 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 resistance. So we'll be looking for price to come and test that zone, that price again, and potentially it could become support, or it may even break. So it could do this and may bounce, or it could do that. Those are a couple of options. It could also do other things, okay, but those are the kind of main two options we'd be looking at. So keep your eyes open for this. Let's see if we break yesterday's low. So yesterday was Tuesday. Let's see if we break that low. Now, if you're trading on the smaller time frames, well, let's say if you're an end of day trader, for instance, if you were just trading, once a day, there's not really a trade there for you, because if you were to short underneath the low, stop above the high, your target would be here. Can you see that your reward to risk would be basically 0.53 to 1? You'd be risking your, let's say, £100 if you like, to make 53, which does not make sense. So end of day trader wise, this doesn't really make sense to take this trade. But if you're an intraday trader, well, cool. You can just look for the break. Where's my zone? You can look for the break of the level on a smaller time frame, have your alert set, and then look for the retest, look for sellers to come in, and hopefully you get something like that where your reward to risk is going to be much better. Looking like something like this, for instance, you could possibly get 2.9%, at least 2%. So unfortunately for the end of day traders, the reward to risk isn't there. But for intraday traders, if we do see that price action, then there could be an opportunity there for you. What else is on the list? Aussie yen. Let's have a little look at Aussie. Pound Aussie, I should say. For pound Aussie, we need to look at the bigger time frame, the weekly. In fact, this one, I got that wrong, guys. I don't think that is on the list, actually. Oh, no, what I meant to look at was Aussie yen. There we go, Aussie yen. That's it. So, weekly time frame, but quite a big move here without a real, correction. When I say like a real correction, I mean something like this in accordance to, what's happened. We've got these kind of one one candle pullbacks, if you like. As you can see, got a red candle there, but nothing major like this. But anyway, you got to look to the left. Always worth looking to the left. Okay, and let's just see, you know, are we heading into resistance in this case? You have to go back to 2018, so quite a while, when price was back into this area. So we had a bit of a false break there, and shooting star candle here. But the week before, so last week, we had what's called an inside candle. So there's potentially indecision there. Okay, when you see an inside candle at resistance, there's like a clue there that we could see the buyers turn into sellers. Okay, there's a kind of an indecision. Now at the moment, this week's candle as well is an inside candle. So at the moment we've got a double inside candle, but obviously this week's candle is still running, still got a couple of days to go. So because of where we are on the chart at resistance, we would favor price to break to the downside for at least a correction. But where would we look to target? Again, you have to look to the left and try and find some kind of support. Well, if you look to the left, you can see this area here, tips of wicks, and it actually lines up with this here, which is resistance. So if I just draw a horizontal ray, do something like that, yeah, you can see this is a support area, also resistance, and resistance we've broken. If we do see that downside, okay, it's likely or highly probable that we might come and retest that little area again, and we could bounce. Okay, could do something like that, or you don't know, do you? We could actually break. If we did, then we would look for a retest and a rejection for further shorts, but that's a little bit in the future. This is a weekly chart, remember, so we'll be looking for price to break down, and our targets will be in that area there. Is there anything at the moment? Well, you got to remember that last week's candle was an inside candle, so there's not a lot going on, to be truthful, at the moment, and you can see that really on the 4-hour time frame. If I just get rid of this zone for a second, nothing's really happening. There's kind of, you know, it's like the market is making a decision about what it wants to do next. Now, I've got to admit, this looks like an impulse. This could potentially be a correction. And if it is, well, we can draw a CTL like that, counter trend line. You know, we might be getting something like this. Impulse, correction, impulse. Totally messed that up, never mind. But you know what I mean. So we can look out for that. Look for a break of the counter trend line. Maybe even a break of, because I can see a little bit of horizontal support there. So maybe a nice solid close below there. Little retest. And then look to sell from here potentially. So that's something you can keep your eyes on as well. So that's euro dollar, dollar Swiss, Aussie yen. We'll pick one more. Let's have a look. What have we got? We've done $2 pairs. We've done a cross pair. Let's do another cross pair. Pound Aussie. I did talk about that, didn't I? Briefly. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete these lines for a second, because when you look at the H4 chart, it does look like a bit of a mess, doesn't it? It does look a bit of a mess, like what is going on here? But when you start to do something like this, okay, we've got this support here. We've obviously got support there as well. So let's join them with the trend line like that. We have a trend. Low, higher, high. Sorry, low, higher, low. And also we're making higher highs in effect. So we've got a bit of a trend there, but we can go a step further and we can connect these tips of wicks. And we've got a channel. Okay, price keeps coming up into this kind of zone and finding resistance. You know, some traders may draw it like that, for instance, but me personally, I like to connect tips of wicks. So we've come into that zone, as you can see at the top. So we wouldn't really be interested in buying this anymore. There's that, so we can see that momentum to the upside there, but because we've come into the top of the channel, unless we really see price impulsively break to the upside and retest something like this, for instance, you know, a strong push, retest the top of the channel, then look for buyers. Okay, that could happen, but look at price action. We'll be looking to short this, okay, because of where it is, but it has to do you know, one of a certain number of things. I can see horizontal support there. Okay, price is bouncing, bouncing, bouncing. I can also see horizontal resistance. So I'll be looking for, and the team will be looking for, a couple of different things. Okay, price could come back up into that zone, bounce, and then hopefully it'll be the one that moves to the downside, in which case we could also look for a pullback and sell. So if price comes in back into this zone here, look for a rejection. I'm going to set an alert there so I know when price comes into that zone. So there may be an opportunity to sell from here depending on the price action. Hopefully then price will break the support, come and retest it, and this is where you could look for a second entry, or what's called scaling in. And at the bottom here, this is the channel support. That's your final target. Now it may not do that. Price may not come and test this high, and if it doesn't, no problem. If it breaks, we'll just look for that retest or the first correction, and then we'll look to take that trade. Okay, so ideally comes up into here, rejects, we get to take a trade there, and we might get to take a second trade down here. But if it doesn't, we'll just look for this horizontal support to break, sellers to take control of the market if you like, look for the pullback, and then look for sellers to come in to take that trade short. So there you go, guys. Euro dollar, dollar Swiss, Aussie yen, and pound Aussie off our watch list, which we sent out today. Like I say, if you're interested in getting a watch list, drop us a comment underneath this video. Also, we have free what's called trader clinics running every Tuesday around about 6 p.m. So, you know, come along to that, totally free. You can speak to Mark and another one of our head traders. And yeah, like I said, that happens on Tuesdays. I'll drop the link. I think we've got a link for the next one, so I'll drop that into underneath this video as well, so you can register for that. And listen, just come along. Doesn't matter what your experience is. Come and talk to us. You know, maybe we can help you with your trading. Who knows? Maybe you're having a certain problem that you need answering to do with trading. Well, come along and speak to us, and let's see what we can do for you. But from me and the team, have a great rest of the week. Don't forget that Euro news tomorrow if you're trading Euro. And yeah, we'll speak to you really, really soon. So from me and the team, bye for now.